Hey y'all, it's Brandy and welcome back to the Antisocials Library. We are getting ready for June's monthly bite, which is crazy because how is it June? Someone tell me right now how it is June, because that's insanity to me. But I digress. We're getting ready for June's monthly bite, which means we have some things to discuss because I have some changes that I've made to the game. Very minimal changes. Doesn't really change the structure of the game at all, but it does give a little bit of playability to it and just a little bit more strategy going into it, which I think is going to make it just a little bit more fun to play. Because I love just rolling the dice and like getting a prompt card. I think that's like a great time. I love pulling prompts for books to read, but I also love the idea of my TBR meaning something going into the next month, and whether I read those books actually meaning something going into the next game. So we're gonna go over really quickly the strategy and how to play the monthly bite, basically starting over, right? So if you haven't seen this game before, welcome. This is how you play. And it's just a monthly game that I like to play to pick my TBR. I am one of those people that pick a ridiculous amount of books for my monthly TBR because I think it's fun. And that's the reason why. Do I ever actually read all of these books? Sometimes. Sometimes I do. It's mostly just like for a fun challenge for me. I am somewhat a little bit of a mood reader, but I'm also really structured in another sense. Like I like picking out a TBR, but having a prompt that I pull that like makes me pick something up off of my shelves that I maybe wouldn't have is really enlightening to me, because I either actually read it and it's a book that I've read off my physical TBR and that's a win, and I either love it or I didn't like it, or I notice that I still don't have any desire to pick up that book, and that is also enlightening at the end of the month. Like, okay, I clearly don't want to read that book. In the monthly bite, you are a vampire hunter or a vampire huntress, or maybe you're not even a hunter, maybe you're just a person that is just gallivanting through the woods, okay? I don't know what you're doing, but you're in the woods, and you have come across the path to Count Dracula's castle. And in Count Dracula's castle, you're right, is Count Dracula, okay? And he is after you. And how he's going to get to you is by slowly cursing your journey all the way to the castle. And you won't win until you get to the castle, okay? But once you get to the castle, you could still be cursed. And you have to fight off those curses by reading your monthly TBR. And that is the silly, goofy premise for the monthly bite. So basically, you make your way across the board. Every blank space on the board is just a generic prompt that I have come up with that, again, is Dracula themed. The TBR pick spot on the board is basically any random way you want to pick off your TBR. I have a cauldron that I have every physical book that I own written down in it. So I will pick out of there, and that is how I pick my TBR picks. But any random way you want to pick your TBR is how you can choose that one. And then the wolf one is the Children of the Night, and that is the scary one, okay? When you land on Children of the Night, you have to pick up 2 prompts. That doesn't mean that you have to read 2 books, not necessarily. Don't get ahead of me, not necessarily. Because if you are witty enough, if you are clever enough, if you are magical enough, you can pick 1 book to fit both prompts. If you can find 1 book to fit both prompts, well, then you only have to read 1 book for that pull. But if you can't, then yeah, you have to read 2 books for that pull. It's a shame. It really is. But that's essentially the premise of the game. That's the board layout. I personally roll a 9-sided die. You can roll with a 6-sided die. You can roll with anything you want, really. Just anything that gets you across the board. Now, the strategy going into the game, that's where your monthly TBR comes in. So for example, in the month of May, these are all of the books that I should have read. These are the books that I did read. As you can see, I was close. I was very, very close, but I did not read my May TBR. Womp, womp, you know? So that means I have to start this month's game, I have to start June's game with a cursed token. A cursed token is exactly what it sounds like. It's a token that was given to you when Dracula caught up to you on your way to the castle. He caught up to you and he said, here's a token. It's cursed, okay? And now you have to hold it. And you're holding this curse. You can get up to 3 cursed tokens. So you can not read up to 3 TBRs and get up to 3 cursed tokens. And they stack on top of each other. Okay, so we'll get to the cursed tokens and what they mean in a second. But if you don't finish your TBR for the previous month, you start the next game with a cursed token. Okay? If you do complete your TBR from the previous month, then first of all, to you. Applaud to you. That's incredible. Couldn't be me. Couldn't be me. But if you do, then you get an option of going into the game, either removing a cursed token. So if you already have 1 or 2, and you want to go into the game and remove one of your cursed tokens, so play the game with a removed token, you can do that at the beginning of the game if you completed your previous month's TBR. Or you can choose to keep the token and re-roll 1 time throughout the game. But you have to decide that at the beginning of the game. You can't just decide that you didn't like your roll and then decide to re-roll. You have to decide before you start playing, I'm going to do a re-roll during the game, or I'm going to take away a cursed token. Are you following? You're following. It makes sense. It's really simple. I promise. If I can do it. You know what I mean? So back to the cursed tokens. I, for example, will have a cursed token going into the month of June because I did not read my May's TBR. So I have 1 cursed token. So that means I start the June TBR game pulling out of the punishment deck, which is just a small little deck that I created that has some punishments on them. And as you can see here, I will give you an example. There are different levels of tokens, right? So if I pulled this punishment and I only had 1 cursed token, then I would only have to do this punishment. But if I had 2 cursed tokens, I would have to do this one, and 3, I would have to do this one. And they get brutal. I got brutal. I said punishment, hold my beer. We're going to shuffle that back in here, and we're going to pull a punishment, and we'll just get started with the game. I am going to include a fun little Google Doc with the rules of the game, and the board, and the prompt cards if you do want to play, just for fun. Starting this month, it's always going to be down there. If you want to play with me, that would be great, but it's a silly, stupid game that's vampire themed, and I'm in love with vampires. So, this is where I've ended up in my life. Anyway, which one should I pick? Tell me. I think I'm going to go with this one. What does it say? Can you see? Corrupted. Oh, it has a typo. Great. Corrupted taste is what that is supposed to say. And I have 1 cursed coin, which means I have to read a book outside of my comfort zone. So, again, I'll show it to you so you can see my typo in all of its glory, and then what the 1 cursed coin is. So a book that's outside of my comfort zone, I immediately jump to nonfiction. I immediately jump to like really serious lit fic. Sci-fi is outside of my comfort zone. Okay, I've decided, and we are going to go sci-fi, and I'm already going to jump into this book, The Children of Time, by Adrian Cheskovsky. I'm terrified of this book. I genuinely am scared. That's the best way that I could put it, is I'm genuinely scared. But let me give you a brief synopsis of what this book is about as I know it, because that could be totally different than what the book is actually about. Like, imagine you're on Earth, right? Because you're on Earth. And Earth has ceased to be a place where we can exist as a human race. So the last living people on Earth have banded together and transcended the stars and have found what the human race believes to be its saving grace, this planet of Eden. And they're going to live on this planet of Eden and live happily ever after. But when we get there, okay, when we get there, we are not the only creatures there. There is a civilization of some alien creature that is described to be man's worst nightmare, already living there, and we're gonna have to duke it out for who gets to live on this planet and live. And it's sci-fi, and sci-fi scares me, as we know. I've heard this, I've said this multiple times, and I am worried that it's going to be a little too dense for me, but I am excited to get into it, and I'm excited to actually dip my toe into it to see if it's even something that I'm interested in. So that is my punishment prompt, and it does feel like a punishment. All right, so let's go over to the board and start our first. Number 1. Let's see if I can keep count this time with how many rolls we do. Ooh, 6. Hades, excuse me. Excuse me. Thank you. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Says The Bite, a book that is short but sharp, under 250 pages. Okay, so roll number 1. We did pretty good, okay. And we got a book that is short but sharp, under 250 pages. And for this one, I'm just going to go ahead and bite the bullet and put pen pal on my TBR. It's 238 pages, and it's on my horror bingo TBR, so I need to get to it. And it's just a book that I have been putting off for literally no reason. I want to read it. I want to get to it. So I think I'm just going to go ahead and officially put it on the TBR. Put it on the TBR. So pen pal, you are basically piecing together the history and mysterious past of our main character in real time, while he also pieces together the mystery of his past. That's really all I know about it. That's it. I don't know much about what this book is about. I'm sorry. It's a horror. It's supposed to be horrifying, and I really hope that it is, because I could use an actual horror novel, you know? I could just use one. Roll number 2. Ho, ho, ho. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Oh, it's gonna be a good month. Oh, yeah. All right. The Coffin. A book you've been sleeping on. A backlist or a TBR vet. Y'all, is this game my game? Last time I jinxed it. So I'm just gonna stop. But for roll number 2, I got The Coffin. So a book you've been sleeping on. This is another one that I'm gonna be brave. Okay, can I be brave with you? I'm gonna put, once again, for the second time, I think this year, The Burning God on my official TBR. So this needs to just be read, okay? I read The Poppy War years ago, okay? This book has been on my TBR since 2020 when these Illumicrate editions came out. I've had this edition on my shelves since 2020, and I've read The Poppy War, I've read The Dragon Republic, and I just can't bring myself to crack open this book and read it. I just can't, and I don't know if it's because it's going to emotionally destroy me. I don't know if it's because I'm afraid I'm not going to like it. Because The Poppy War was a 4.5 star. That book was so good. And The Dragon Republic was also a 4.5 star. If not a 5? Did I give it a 5? I don't even remember what I gave it, but I remember I liked it. And this is the third and final installment to that series, and we are following Ren, our main character, who is a war orphan and gets plucked out of this orphanage to go to this elite military school where they teach shamanism, and she gets just involved in this brutal war and gets taken advantage of in the sense where her magic is only powerful when she is ingesting certain substances. So she becomes almost an addict in that sense, and so she can use her powers, and she is very powerful, but she is also very brutal, and there's a lot of death and a lot of triggers and a lot of horrible, horrible things happening in these books, but the political intrigue is amazing. The battle scenes are incredible. The magic system is so unique. R.F. Kuang's writing is something just to be devoured. I love her writing. I've loved everything she's written. So I've read anyway. So I need to just go ahead and crack into this one. This is the third and final installment, so I can't really tell you what this book in particular is about. I think I'm just ready. I'm ready to bite the bullet. I might even need to do a recap of what the first two, like, plot-wise, what happened, so that I can go into that one, because I'm not going to do a reread or anything, let's be real. So I probably need to remind myself where the Dragon Republic left off, so that I'm not completely lost in the Burning God. Roll number 3. 2. Oh my god. Oh, I always do that to myself. Alright, the 2 prompts. Let's look at them both. The Demeter, a book set at sea or involving sea travel, and Bloodlust, a romance book. Okay, I might be able to make that work, actually. Jinxed it. I jinxed it. I said I wasn't going to jinx it, and then I jinxed it anyway. So, we got Children of the Night. So, the 2 prompts that I picked for Children of the Night is The Demeter, so a book set at sea or involving sea travel, and a romance. But, hear me out. Alright, Children of the Night? Are you listening? Listen to them sing, alright? Listen to me sing. Listen to what I have to say. I found one. I found a sapphic YA romance that is set at sea or involves sea travel. And that is Lies We Sing to the Sea by Sarah Underwood. This is an Illumicrate edition that I've had for who knows how long. Back when I was still getting Illumicrate fantasy editions of books, which I don't anymore, if that tells you anything. I don't necessarily know what it's about. I know it's a Greek mythology retelling, and it's about Ithaca, and it's about Poseidon and Odysseus, and it's sapphic, and it's a romance, and it's YA, so you know how that scares me, right? We know how YA writing scares me, but it is a beautiful book. It really is. And it says on the back, her life to appease a god, his life to save a kingdom, her lies to destroy them all. And it does sound good. And it's stunning. And I love a Greek mythology retelling. That is one thing about me, is that I do love mythology retellings. So I am very hopeful going into this, and it matches both prompts. So that's a win. Roll number 4. 8 again. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. You've got to be kidding me. Oh, okay. 2 more prompts. If I can show you both of them. The Diary, an epistolary or mixed media, and The Transformation, a genre you don't normally read. Man, that's so similar to Out of My Comfort Zone, and I just got this last month. Y'all know that meme of SpongeBob, and he's just blinking, and it just goes blank, 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 blank. That's me. That's me right now. Because what do you mean 2 Children of the Night in a row? What do you mean? And also, what do you mean? I don't think I'm going to have as much luck getting 2 books, one book with 2 prompts. And also, I'm just really annoyed with my luck, because what do you mean my cursed token was a book that's outside of my comfort zone, and then I get the freaking Transformation? It's basically the same thing. And also, I'm pretty sure I got this last month. So that's just annoying, and I need to shuffle better because this is ridiculous. But anyway, yes, I got The Transformation, a genre you don't normally read, and The Diary. which is a mixed media or an epistolary novel. Harder to do, to put together. So I just picked 2 books. So we are going to let The Children of the Night win this time, I guess. And for the genre that I don't normally read, I'm going to switch it up and we're going to go with a romance. All right, I'm going to read Funny Story by Emily Henry. This is the only Emily Henry on my shelves that I haven't read. So that's something. I've enjoyed Emily Henry in the past. It's not that I don't like romance. It's not that I like actively dislike it. I just don't gravitate towards it. I'm not really a like romance for romance sake reader. I like romance when it's involved in a really deeper plot line. Like I love a romance and I love a yearning and I love a story that revolves around love. I just love love. But I like it with political intrigue or fantasy undertones or something else that's like driving the plot. If the plot itself is romance, I'm not usually as invested, but I've had a really good time. They're really great palate cleansers. I really do have a great time with them when I do just let myself enjoy them. So I have this on my shelves. I've had it for a while, never gotten to it. This one's an interesting premise and actually does intrigue me plot-wise, so there is that. But you are following Daphne. And Daphne is just in love, okay? She is in love with her boyfriend, her fiancé. My apologies. Her fiancé, Peter. They are in love. They're engaged. She loves the way that he tells their story about how they got together, and it's so romantic, and oh my God. And then one day he wakes up and is like, actually, Daphne, I'm in love with my childhood best friend, Petra. So I'm going to need you to move out. I'm going to need you to get out, okay? Because I don't love you. I love my best friend. So this is awkward. This was fun, but I gotta go. We gotta go. So she ends up living in this new city where her ex-fiance lives. And she has her dream job. That's great, but it like barely pays the bills, all right? She's struggling, all right? And she doesn't even have Peter anymore. But don't worry, because the one person who can understand what she's going through, the one person that can understand the feeling that she's feeling is Petra's ex-boyfriend, Miles. And since Miles is in a very similar situation, if not the same situation as our friend Daphne, they decide, let's just live together since we're both struggling and heartbroken and poor and like we can just like live together. So they do that. And it's romance. So I'm assuming that they fall in love, perhaps. So it actually does intrigue me. It gets me a little bit. It might make me kick my feet just a little bit, especially if it's actually funny. But for the other one, I'm choosing the mixed media side of this prompt, and I actually did a flip through of Wretch by Eric LaRocca, and there are IM chats in this book. So I'm going to use this one as that, because there are emails and chats and things of that nature, so that's going to count for mixed media. I literally just picked this up at Barnes & Noble when I was there shopping their buy one, get one 50% off hardcover sale. I know I shouldn't have done it, but I did do it. And I did it big, okay? And this is one of the books that I bought. And I am excited to get to it. I never read an Eric LaRocca before, but I've heard such like wonderful things about his writing and how it can be so eerie and disturbing. And that's what I'm looking for. That's what I'm looking for. And this is a grief-centric horror, and I love grief horror. It just really resonates with me, and I feel most connected to horror stories that root itself in the reality of grief. I think it's phenomenal, if done phenomenally. This is following Simon, and Simon has lost his husband, and that sucks, and we hate that for Simon, and we grieve with and for Simon. But Simon ends up in this peculiar support group that is called the Wretches. And in the support group, they introduce Simon to this figure called the Porcelain Caw? Porcelain Caw, who is a man with the ability to let those who are grieving have one last intimate moment with their beloved one. For a price. And that just sounds like the perfect setup for me if done the way that I want it to be done. So, and I have faith in Eric LaRocca. I really do. So we're hoping that this gives me everything that I want because it is an extra book on my TBR. And that is just rude. Possibly final roll. I'm not jinxing myself like I did last time, but possibly final roll. 3. Yeah. All right. And I think just for funsies, we'll go ahead and pull another one. That'll be my win. The Hypnotist. A popular book it seems everyone loves. We finally made it to Dracula's castle, and I did end up taking another prompt. I decided to test the waters rather than just picking a book that I wanted. And I'm actually super happy with the prompt that I got because I got The Hypnotist, which is a book that it seems that everyone loves. And I'm super stoked for this because I want to get to this book so bad. I want to get to this book so quickly. And I just picked this up at Barnes & Noble as well. Diary Bound by Sable Sorson. I'm a little late to the party, I think. I might just be a little tinsy, itsy bitsy late. But this is essentially Fourth Wing vibes, but with direwolves instead of dragons. Correct me if I'm wrong. I don't think that I am. But if I am, correct me. But wait till I start it, because that's why I picked it up. And if I'm wrong, I don't want to know about it right now. Okay, I don't want to know about it right now. Because this sounds so good. That's all I know, by the way. But yeah, so this is essentially Fourth Wing in the sense that there is a really intense training program that may kill people that go through that. I don't know. And they have to do this training program with a bonded direwolf that they get bonded with. And our main character gets bonded with a particularly difficult direwolf, I believe. And I don't know, it just sounds so good. It just sounds so good and everyone's loving it, and that's really all I needed to know. Okay, this isn't the worst that I've ever done. Guys, it's really not the worst I've ever done. This might actually be doable. Can I do this in June? That would be crazy. That would be so cool. But yeah, thank you so much for watching and hanging out with me and playing my little game with me. Let me know what books you would pick for any of these prompts because I think the game was actually relatively nice to me, all things considered, especially compared to last month. So hopefully I will not get a second cursed token next month. Hopefully I will be able to enter the game with a reward rather than a curse, but only time will tell. And that time is only 30 days. So there is that. When you put it that way, it makes it a little more stressful. But thank you so much for watching and hanging out with me for this little bit. If you've made it this far, go down below and leave the bat emoji as always for the monthly bite, or the blood emoji, or anything vampiric, really. Just anything for Count Dracula down below. And while you're down there, don't forget to like and subscribe, and you can hit that little notification bell so you get notified the next time that I post. And just remember to read well and rest well, and I will catch you in the next one. Bye.